this episode of My Cat's Tale, we're going to meet Leo.
He has really, really intense energy, discovering, just hopping around everywhere. My sister and my mom are like, you guys name him. It was Leo DiCaprio. Daddy's like, Leo Messi. COVID hit, so we were all scared and stuff. He was just the greatest presence anybody could ask for.
Joining me now on My Cat's Tale, we have Jaylan, joining me all the way from Alexandria. We're here to talk about Leo.
Yes. The cutest cat ever. First of all, thank you, Ewan, so much. I love this podcast. And second of all, Leo is this cat that came into our lives during 2020, the year of COVID. It was such a sad year. He's a mix, I think, between Persian and Maine Coon. He has this fluffy fur and he has these beautiful, beautiful eyes that are like gold emerald eyes. And I don't know, he looks a bit wild. I gotta tell you, he never looks cute ever, not even when he was a baby. But this is how we raise him because we're a hipster family at heart. I think we like to be ourselves. You don't like to be, made up versions of whoever we're supposed to be. So our cat is not like the cuddly, cute type, at least not with others. But with us, he's just Leo. He's this crazy person, cat.
What's Leo like just now? What's he been up to in the last week?
Leo, what's he been like in the past week? Well, he went to the vet and he was kind of sad because there were fleas in him and we had to bathe him too. And he had his nails clipped and he was glammed up, but he really hates visiting the vet, although she loves him insanely. She's like, oh, King Leo. And he's like, no. So this is what he's been up to. Of course, like spending quality time with my dad as usual, blah, blah, blah. And like missing my sister like crazy because she's his favorite person in the whole house. And just going around, he has really, really intense energy, just hopping around everywhere, discovering whenever you get groceries, wherever you get stuff and stuff like that. And I think we got something new last week and he was so interested in it. So he just dug deep.
He sounds like a really loving, but also quite an inquisitive little mischievous cat.
Very, very. We don't like it.
Picked him up in 2020. So that puts him, 3 years old now?
Yeah, he is. He is 3 years old. Yeah.
So just out of the kitten stage, still quite bouncy, but just hopefully calming down just a little bit.
I hope so because he hasn't calmed up not a least bit. He's the bounciest cat ever, and he is almost feral. He loves to scare us. He loves to jump on us. He loves to jump on furniture and like show dominance and stuff like that. And he kind of like has this insane fights with my dad, where he just scratches him and like bares his teeth, and dad just loves it because that is like the crazy animal lover you'd expect him to be. Like my dad is the craziest person you could ever meet because he's always been an eccentric, like on the margins of society and stuff. So this fits him very well, let me tell you. So
wind back a little bit for me. When did Leo come into the house? Why did he come into the house?
Okay, our cousin we were going through a very tough time, okay? Our pet bird, Coconut, has just died, and this took a toll on my dad. As I told you, he's like this crazy animal lover and stuff. And my mom was like invested in taking care of my grandma, who was very sick at the time. So our cousin, my sister and I, was obsessed with, I'm going to get you a cat. My cat is pregnant. I'm going to get you one of the kittens. And we're like, no, we can't take care of a cat. Sorry, babe. So he just launches Leo on our laps. Her cat had gotten like 6 or something, and she's like, I feel the gray one is going to be the best for you guys. So she gifts it to us. It was a gift. So he came into our life. Few months later, grandma died. Our uncle died. COVID hits. And it was like we had this light in the house. It was like something precious was born into the house. We didn't even feel. Yes, it was crazy. Yes, we had a lot of crap. Yes, my sister and I were working full time and it took a toll on us. Yes, my mom caught COVID by the end of 2020 and it was really hard and she almost lost it. I think it was such a dark time, but he was there to make everything seem it was worth it. There was life, even though death was everywhere, even though we were all scared and stuff. He was just the greatest presence anybody could ask for in their lives.
It's one of those moments that we have with our pets, that sometimes the connection can be feels so much more powerful than anything else in the world when it gets very dark.
Definitely. Definitely. It is. It is. And the way, we were just adapting to him and adapting to the environment, and he was just going around being a part of the family, wanting to be part of everything. When my sister and I would fight, he would go and like raise a pawn, just hit me and go to my sister and hit her. It's as if he's like, stop it, you girls. And you would just feel like something is something is beautiful in this life and something is unconditional in this life, and taking care of him has been, yes, so hard, but at the same time it's so rewarding.
You said there that he arrived in 2020 just before COVID hit. What was
Yeah.
COVID like in Egypt? Because obviously I know what it's been like here in the United Kingdom, and it's been relatively clear what it's been like in Europe and America, but what was it like
Yeah.
over there in North Africa?
So almost this, it's almost the same. Like we, like some people were working from home, some people were laid off, some people like us, we would go on shifts, and it was a very scary environment to go because you would feel people falling sick all the time. Some, unfortunately, people lost their lives, and we've had close friends who lost their parents and stuff like that. It was a gloomy time, I think, for the whole world. And we were always afraid. I think when mom caught it, we were just, because she caught it really hard, but it was the end of the year, and I really panicked, and my sister too. And of course, she was isolating herself. It was self-isolation at home. And Leo would, of course, like scratch the door, like, let me in. I want to be with you, because he loves her so much. And it was just, so I think it was a very sad time. But for me, it was also a productive time, because I would go to work. We would have shifts where we would have to like separate, have the separation policies and stuff. And I would be in an office all by myself, and it would drive me to like write something about the city and how it feels like a ghost town, and how you go to familiar places and still not feel familiar. So it was a very sad time. I think mostly sad because you just see this Facebook status, and someone is dead, or someone is having it, someone is like screaming for help, and it was just nasty.
But in this nastiness, if we flip the coin over, oh, actually, before we do that, your mother's okay now, yeah?
Definitely, she's perfect. Thank you so much for asking.
You have this darkness
Yeah.
outside, and you have this lightness inside.
Definitely, Ewan. You just, as if you heard my sister. She would tell me, she was working as a school teacher at the time. And let me tell you, it was a terrible time to be a school teacher. It was scary. She was scared for the kids, for herself. Some schools were closed, but hers wasn't. And there was a lot of turbulence. But at the same time, she would tell me that no matter whatever hell is happening out there in the world, I would step into the apartment and see Leo, and I would forget all about it. All the pain, all the fear would wash away. I see him, and he's just running to her, and he loves her so much. He's like, he has this leap like of a dog, and he just runs to her and then falls on his back, and he's waiting for the belly rub. And she's just there with him on the ground, and she forgets all about the pain, all about the crap.
Do you think it would, I mean, how much harder do you think isolation and that period of your life would have been without Leo?
It would have been total darkness, let me tell you, because I was having a heartbreak too. A man I loved, in 2019. It was the end of an on and off relationship that took a very long time of my life. So by the time I was mourning the relationship and the heartbreak that happened, Leo came. So it made it milder. So get him out of the situation, all the deaths, all the problems, all the sickness, me every day being in isolation, being paranoid from all what's going on, still raw from the heartache. I don't think I would have been this person talking to you. I would think my strengthening curve would have gone upward, because this little furl bitch has helped me so much become what I am right now, just by having him in my life.
What about when he first arrived in the house? Because he's arrived, if I've got the timeline right, before the whole world kicked off and just, yeah, that, you know what
Yeah,
I mean, folks. What
yeah,
were those
yeah.
first couple of weeks like? Have you had a kitten before? Was this, what have you had animal wise before?
I'm gonna tell you something very funny. We tried having a kitten when I was little, okay? Because my mom and dad are crazy animal lovers, okay? My sister, she had phobia from cats. She was phobic to cats. My sister, who is now like so close. They're like, freaking frat, like they're there. They're just together all the time. And she demanded that we remove this cat, get it out of the house. And she was too small. And we were also sad, but we just had to let the cat go. Fast forward years later, and he arrives in the house. And from the moment he sets his tiny paw in the house, and my sister is like madly in love with him, it was the first few weeks where we're just insane. They were insane and happy and chirpy, and we just wanted to make everything. We were celebrating him like a little free king and just trying to feed him and having fun with him and trying to teach him how to pee and to get used to the litter box. And he's, like boxed, but of course he usually just goes under the covers and sleeps with one of us. But it was like a crazy, happy place where you just get to have fun and go around and around. I think the first few weeks were like euphoric. There was no sadness in them. No, at least he didn't even get sick until later, like about 5 months in or something. But the first few weeks were like hilarious and fun and loving.
Is that what you expected?
Well, because we're insane, we're like a family of animal lovers, like we're crazy. We feed strays all the time. We go to animal shelters. We kind of like mingle with other people's animals all the time. So I think we were expecting it, but we were scared for our sister, for my sister Donna, mom and dad and me, because she was probably the one of us who is a little bit expectant of animals. Like you would see her with big dogs, like, ooh, what are you gonna do? Back then, of course, cats were like a big no to her. I think she saw them as mini panthers or mini tigers or something. So she was the one. But to be honest with you, the moment Leo entered and he was like out of the box and like looking around, and it was love at first sight. So it was even higher than our expectations, maybe better.
Hold on, what about the day before though? What about the day when your sister knew a cat was coming in but hadn't met Leo yet? So she must still have had the phobia, but decided that she was okay trying again. How did that happen?
I think because like deep into it, I was always my sister and I are like best friends, so we're always there for each other. Like she's more socially outgoing than me, so she's always telling me to be bold and like not care about people and be your crazy self, because I'm kind of a weirdo. She's more composed and immaculate in front of people. I'm like all over the place, la la la, and she's like, just be yourself and forget about them. So I would like always take her with me, like when we're with shelters or feeding strays, and like look at them, look at animals. Animals are beloved, are amazing, and slowly I was just wanting to her to be, because I feel like when you don't have connection with animals, you're losing a lot of life. You're missing out a lot of life. Same goes for nature. If you're not out in the nature, having sand in your feet, having the bark of the tree under your nails and stuff like that, you're missing out on life. So I wanted her to get the full experience of being alive, and animals were a big part of it. So I would always, always. So when our cousin like, you guys gotta get a cat. I'm sorry, you guys are in a rut, in a bad place. You have to get the cat. My sister was accepting of the idea, but a little bit skeptical. But she wasn't like, no, 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 or phobic or anything. She was more and more maturing into an animal lover, kind of like the rest of us, but let me say in her own unique way too.
So when did she realize you were doing one of those sneaky sister plans to try and get her to accept a cat?
Realized early on, because I wish I was that sneaky. She's the sneaky one. Let me tell you, I'm like the least sneaky person out there. Like any scheme I would do, you can read it on my face. I would look like a total crap. So no, I leave these schemes to her. I'm like telling her, like I would try to hide something, and then like, you know what, Donna, we're getting a cat. Sorry, maybe this is why I'm trying to let you love all the cats in the street and stuff like that.
So you also
Although,
said there
listen to
that
me now.
Donna and Leo made this great connection almost instantly. Obviously, it sounds like the rest of the family has made that connection as well. But that first connection, how surprised was she then?
She's crazy surprised. We're all surprised. Seriously. Nobody expected it. Nobody would have thought she's the most tender with him. She cannot even, like I can sometimes give him orders, tell him not to do this, step down, get back and stuff. Like she would never. Like she would wake up in the middle of the night if he's hungry, just to look if he's missing something, or if he's kind of like moaning or doing something, and like, what's wrong, Lee? What's wrong, baby? What's wrong? And she would just hug him and like tenderly pat him and stuff like that. But we wouldn't expect it. We thought she would be the least connected to him, and it was the opposite. And he just, like sometimes she's asleep and he's like standing there staring at her lovingly. He doesn't do this with me, let me tell you.
Oh, he knows where to put his claws in, as it were, and make sure he gets a
Yeah.
little more treats. It's just like, yeah, yeah. Sisters might not be sneaky. Cats, ho, 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 ho. Is there food here? I will be evil. But the other thing about that connection is we all know what it's like when a pet gets ill, has to go back and forth. You said before Leo had a rough time after about 5 or 6 months. What was wrong with Leo?
He had these viral infections one after the other, and he was so young and he had to get all these shots and all. Yeah, luckily for us we had a very good vet, but he would be like throwing up back and forth and stuff like that, and he was just in pain. And my mom and my sister would have to, because I used to work like a really long time and long hours, my mom and sister would be like back and forth to the vet and back from the vet. And I think one of the days it was really raining. It was raining like crazy, but they were like, I don't care, I'm gonna go. And they returned soaked to the bone. So I don't know, we just kind of like, when you have an animal, you just devote it part of yourself to this creature, and this creature depends solely on you. So if you're not honest, and if you're not fully dedicated and committed to taking care of it, trust me, this creature might get seriously affected. So we were solely focused and completely focused, because my dad panics in these situations. Let me tell you, he is like Leo is sick. He's just like there shaking and he's scared what's gonna happen. No, no. And we just take control, the women in the family, and we go out there and we take him, and the rest is thankfully history. He's good now.
And I want to come back to Donna's experience as well, because then did you have to do learning, and education is the wrong word, but if that's the first pet she's had that strong connection with, that would be the first time that strong connection has been in medical danger.
Wow, wow, good question, good question. Well, let me tell you, Donna would be worried, but we, the women of the family, I think we're Donna and I have learned at a certain time to just step up and be kind of adults, because we've had some rough times in our family. So I think I would be the panicky one in certain situations. She's had to be upfront, because she works as a public relations sales expert, so she's always out there communicating with people. So she just has to put on a brave upfront. But the most person who was really scared for Leo when he was a medical danger was my dad. Like he couldn't sleep those days. If he would hear him moaning, my dad would be like flipping on the bed, like tossing and turning around, just unable to control it. And he would be like sitting. He doesn't want to eat. He doesn't want to have fun. He doesn't want to watch stuff. And we're like, that, it's okay. We're taking care of it. So I think it was the hardest on him. Donna was, as usual, playing the brave one until, like, I think the day when they returned, they were soaked wet and they had just given him one of the shots for the viral infection, an antiviral shot. And she broke into tears because it was just too much pressure. It was COVID. The world was decaying. Everything is bad. She wasn't happy in her job, let me tell you, as a teacher. And her love and kind of like overprotectiveness over Leo, it was all taking a toll on her. But she doesn't have those moments often as I used to. I would be like having them every now and then, every 2 days. I'd be having a nervous breakdown.
It sounds like the family, everybody depends on everybody else very
Yeah.
intensely.
Yeah.
And Leo is in there creating those extras. I depend on you, but also you depend on me. It sounds
Yeah.
like he's just as complicated and emotionally open as everybody else.
Yeah. That's so true. Damn, we're such an intense family. What can I tell you? My mom used to play the piano, used to write poetry before she became a housewife. Unfortunately, she didn't want this for us, my sister and I. I'm a poet and I make short movies and I like do stuff. And my sister is like a food blogger. We're not a traditional family in the sense of my dad told you, like, he was an eccentric, always on the margins of the society, never had a regular job in his life. So we're like, I don't think we're a normal family in the sense of the world, but what family is.
All right. This may be the toughest question, I think, because it
Oh.
sounds like Leo wasn't born a Leo. It sounds like he was born kitten, and
Yeah.
then this highly emotional family has to come to a single decision about his name. And how straightforward was that?
I just had it from the beginning. Like, if it's a male cat, if it's a boy, I'm gonna call him Leo after Leo DiCaprio. And my daddy's like, no. Leo after Leo Messi, the football, the soccer. Yeah, like that is like Leo Messi, and he would call him Leo Messi to my face, and I'd be like, no, Leo DiCaprio. Sorry, daddy. But still, he's a Leo. This is my dad and I. My sister and my mom are like, you guys name him. Not my problem. But me, it was Leo DiCaprio. Daddy's like Leo Messi.
So technically, you haven't agreed on a name then?
It's just Leo, so that everybody just shuts up.
Yeah, we'll just, no arguments. We'll just go with the first names. Let's not get anything complicated in the background. Let's not mention the fact that we like the West Wing as well. Let's just move on. Because it was Donna and Josh, not Donna and Leo. I know my West Wing. So what about round the house now? He can't just be this absolute tearaway 24/7. He must have his downtime sometimes.
I think when someone is kind of like, when he doesn't get attention, or when, like sometimes when I like go after him, because sometimes he's doing crazy stuff, putting himself in danger, trying to like run out of, we just have a slit in a window and he'd be like running crazily because he's very fast and trying to get himself in danger. I'll always give him a hard time about it when he's puking sometimes, and I know this is bad, but I would just tell him like, look what you did. He would go and like sulk in a corner, and my sister would go to me and like, don't you dare do this to him. Don't you tell him anything. It's not up to you. What is your problem? He's a cat. And then these are his down. Of course, when someone is sick in the family, like my dad got sick. My dad had to do cataract eye corrective surgery. And it was nothing, but he came and he was sedated and he was in and out of it. And you should have seen Leo. Like,
that doesn't work when we're doing an audio podcast, by the way.
Really? Oh my goodness.
You can't just kind of lean into the camera and look up like Leo and hope everybody's going to read. It doesn't work like that, Jay.
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to paint a picture while he's looking up there. Oh my goodness. I'm such an actress. Oh, I should be on the stage. You should see his face. Okay. He's just there staring intently. His eyes are like so wide and he's just so downcast. Like, why? And he's like, Leo, he'll be up soon, don't worry. But we just try and take Dad to the bed and he's there too still, and he would like sleep at the foot of the bed waiting. So he sulks when someone is sick, when someone like gives him a hard time. It's just usually yours truly. When he doesn't get, of course, like his favorite food and stuff, but sometimes there are cat food shortages. I don't know what to do. We try to look for the best alternatives and try to make up stuff. We've made a connection between all the cat shops and stuff like that and pet shops, and yeah, we figured it out. But this are his down moments. Not much.
Is he always going to have the house to himself, or are you all thinking another cat's going to join him soon?
I don't think so. I don't think we have the energy. Let me tell you, I don't think we can manage with two cats. That'd be crazy. It's be crazy. Have you seen us? We're a crazy family already. Another cat? Damn, no, not even another dog. We'd all go mad. I think maybe when I'm alone on my own, if I have an apartment, I'll get a cat and a dog, I guess.
Why not two cats? Why a cat and a dog?
I really love dogs. I don't know. I wish I would have a dog of my own. This is something that I've had in mind. My sister hears me saying this. She'll be like, no, don't even say it. What about Leo? And I'm like, I can't even imagine it. What are you? Like, he doesn't read my mind. What is wrong with you? He completely has his control over her. But for me, I think when I have an apartment of my own, it will be a cat and a dog or one of them. Either, but with us, the four of us and another creature, no, never. Thank you very much. We're enough.
You got enough there. So it sounds like he has a great life now, running around, being weighted on hand and foot, and getting everybody else to do the hand and foot waiting in the other direction as well.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's always like that. He has a happy kitty life. He has a happy cat life, and it's just all over the place.
Well, it is a wonderful story, Jayla.
Thank you.
It's so wonderful to hear how much a cat can help in a family in tough times. And then when the good times are there, well, they can just bring even more joy. It's wonderful to hear. Thank you for telling us.
You're welcome. Thank you. It was a pleasure to talk about him. He's adorable. He's just lovable.
You've been listening to My Cat's Tale, a Spence Media production. Listen to more tales of our perfect pets at mycatstailpod.com and support us on Patreon. And there you have it, the tale of Leo, the cat who's ice cold in Alex. And thanks, as always, to the person who is the owner or is owned by the cat that we hear about. Jayla, thanks very much once more for taking the time to tell us your cat's tale here at My Cat's Tale. That's what we do in the podcast. We listen to our feline friends, the adventures they get up to, and then we come back in 7 days' time to do it all over again with another cat and the same amount of love and emotion that we all carry for our pets. Ta-ra for now.